and I'm so excited. This is our first one of
Mhm.
the year.
So that's actually every 8 p.m.
They make
Interestingly,
an
about my hospital,
announcement.
they make an announcement. So
Uh-huh. It's okay. Paul's still at work. We are live on Instagram. Sorry, we're not live on Instagram.
that's
We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And we are just giving it a second because Dr. Paul Badua is still at work. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
thank you for having me. I'm honestly really honored to be here. I've followed you on LinkedIn for quite some time, seen all your posts on about Resi Prep, and I'm
Yeah.
actually so surprised that you reached out to me to talk just for
Oh,
a
this
few minutes here. Thank you for having me. Honestly.
absolutely. I'm so happy. And that makes me really, really happy to know that you've been following. I put it out there hoping that someone is or does follow. So I'm so, so, so grateful you're still at work. Like, this is so obvious that you're at work and you're choosing to do this today. I'm so
Mhm.
excited. Welcome, everybody. It is our first postgraduate info series of the 2023-2024 residency and fellowship application cycle. I can't believe it's year number 2. We just had so much fun last year that I had to do it again. So many people asked about the series. And it's never always about the volume. It's always just about the one person that will see a live and that would make them interested in learning more about a program or even inspire them to follow a postgraduate path from something that one of our really committed and dedicated guests who have a million things to do have taken like a beat to come and talk to me about their experiences and what it's been like for them so far. We're not halfway in yet, but things start off really, really quickly. So thank you for being here. If you are joining us on LinkedIn or YouTube, a comment to just tell me that you can hear us is always greatly appreciated. I'm super paranoid that technology doesn't work and like we could be having a conversation with just Paul and I here this evening. Thank you so much for being here. Our guest this evening is Dr. Paul Badua, and I don't take bios because I always want our guests to introduce themselves to all of us. Thank you and welcome to the Postgraduate Info Series. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much. It's always so weird to hear doctor in front of our
Oh,
name.
really?
Yeah, after graduation, it's always such a weird, thing you got to get used to.
I
You
know.
graduated and you put in all this hard work, and someone tries to call you doctor, and you're just like, oh no, it just.
I know. But you know
But
what's even more weird is like when your professors, they now want you to call them by their
by
first
first,
names.
absolutely. You know what's funny? I reached out to one of my mentors from school who actually took a new position at another pharmacy school. And even in the email, I said, "P.S. I still can't call you by your first name. So sorry, Doctor so and so." And and it's just so funny the way he ended the email.
I
Call me by my first name. I'm just like, oh, I can't.
No, let's take things slowly. Like it
Mhm,
there are some faculty members that traditions, but some I still cannot say the first name and I'm almost 10 years out, so it's
mhm,
okay. I just want you to know it's okay. But it's definitely doctor because that was earned and I still remember what that
mhm.
was like. So can you please share with all of our audience members, those watching us live now or those that will see this later, I'd like to start with you just sharing with us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, of course. So, hi everyone. My name is Dr. Paul Badwa. I graduated from the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy actually just this past year in May of
Yeah.
2023. Currently, I'm a PGY1 resident at Cooperman Barnabas Medical Center. It's formerly known as St. Barnabas Medical Center, located here, Livingston, New Jersey.
Mm.
It's I was actually homegrown New Jersey, so came back to my stomping
Oh,
roots. I guess obviously pharmacy wasn't the first career for me.
Okay.
But I did know I wanted to be in the medical field. And honestly, after landing upon pharmacy, I could easily say it's my passion, and
Wow.
I'm incredibly happy to just be where I am,
Yeah.
obtaining a residency, and working hard for it. Um, but yeah, I guess that's who I am in a little
Oh,
nutshell.
that's awesome. Oh, wow. So you matched at home.
Yeah, like 10 minutes away from my where I live.
No. Okay, because one of the questions I love to ask people, it's like what was that thing for you? So you mentioned already pharmacy isn't the first career, but then you get into pharmacy even though you were interested in healthcare and you're like, "Yes, I'm incredibly passionate about this profession and I want to further myself in it." What was that decision making process like? What was your aha moment or your light bulb moment that told you, "Yeah, it's postgraduate, but specifically it's going to be residency." Was there a moment?
Where I decided to go residency or
Yeah,
pharmacy in general? Oh,
just
okay.
residency. Yeah.
Residency. Yeah, honestly, I worked at CVS for, quite a few years, like I'm assuming a lot of pharmacy students do, like
Yeah.
going to a community chain right before. But really what sold me into residency was just the whole interaction with the healthcare team,
Mhm.
especially up and coming medical residents and
Mhm.
even some of the practicing, long time practicing physicians. They've
Yeah.
started to welcome pharmacy more and
Mhm.
started to see us as more valuable members of the team, and just being looked upon by these also incredibly intelligent people also practicing within the same area, seeing the same patients. It's it's just an amazing feeling to have an impact not only on the patient but
Mhm.
among the team as well. It's always a learning experience for everyone, and we feed off of each other. um,
Absolutely.
and we catch each other, just in case there's a mistake. We double check each other, and I like that. I like collaborating among one another,
Mhm.
sharing thoughts, and learning more, even if it's not specifically our specialty.
Yeah.
Diagnosis and everything. I might not know what they're talking about, but just those little things I could just look up later, get a better
Yeah.
sense of, and then I could teach them a little more about pharmacology if they have
Yeah.
any questions. So it's a give and take, and that's what really steered me towards residency.
That's awesome. Okay, very good. So I guess like for you and your journey as a student pharmacist, you
Mhm,
kind of had an idea at least about one functional area of pharmacy with your community pharmacy exposure.
mhm.
Were there, because now you're in residency, which kind of lays out a different path for you. But as a student pharmacist, what were some of those things that you think you did that really prepared you for the type of candidate you ended up becoming for a residency?
Definitely coming from the school that I did. Our
Mhm.
school is seen as being heavily clinical.
Yeah.
So that was actually one of the reasons why I decided to come to Maryland and not stay in New Jersey and go to Rutgers, which is
Yeah.
sometimes seen as a more industry focused fellowship school,
Yeah.
which isn't the case, now that I know. but
Right.
but definitely working with a lot of clinical, my clinical faculty, and
Yeah.
shadowing them, seeing
Yeah.
what their day to day is like, and then eventually going on my appies,
Mhm.
and just the passion that they have for their specific areas, and just learning more about them is really what steered me more towards residency and wanting to be a clinical pharmacist in a hospital.
In a hospital. Do you have a particular clinical area of interest yet, or you're still just figuring out what you will fall in love with eventually, or are you already in love with something?
So that's funny. That's a really funny question, and it's really interesting because I'm still kind of going over it in my head, because
Yeah.
right out of pharmacy school, I was so interested in cardiology. I will be going into cardiology and everything. But recently, just even being at my institution, my very first rotation was geriatrics. Now, it's not even something I was even considering. I was not interested in geriatrics at all, as a student,
Wow.
but just with my preceptor, who's actually our hospital's geriatrics RPD, just
Oh,
being with her and seeing what rounds are like, seeing what the patient population is like, and approaching it from an internal medicine standpoint, it
yes.
it really opened my eyes to actually considering geriatrics here next year, as one of my
Wow.
options. But it also led me to maybe consider internal medicine as another option for PGY2. So now
Yeah.
I have, a few options now besides cardiology.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and that changed honestly in the span of like a few months, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like when you're talking to residents and students, I always tell everybody like when you go into residency, you like many people were like, yes, it's going to be acute care, it's going to be ID, it's going to everyone comes in thinking that PGY2, if that's what's on the horizon for you or you want to do, you're super clear about it and then you find yourself getting exposed or maybe having like a really meaningful patient encounter that completely changes like your outlook like
Mhm,
wait, that was really really cool. Like I could do that every single day and be phenomenal at it. I love that you're interested in geriatrics and we need a lot of pharmacists to go into geriatrics. So
mhm,
I'm excited that that's like something that you're enjoying so far.
mhm,
What do you think has been the biggest adjustment for you so far? You just, I mean, I still feel like you all just started,
mhm.
but a lot's happened since the summer. So, without a doubt, going from student to new practitioner, there's an adjustment. So, I'm curious about like what's been personally for you, your biggest adjustment.
Wow, there's honestly a couple of things, but I don't want to sound like a broken record because we hear this all the time, even as a student. But honestly, the time management,
Yeah.
it's going from undergrad to pharmacy school,
Yeah.
there was a shift in workload, and then you had to manage your time better.
Yeah.
Going from, a third year to an appy student,
Hmm.
there is a huge shift there with your time management, where you're starting to get a lot more independence, a lot more autonomy.
Hmm.
But then that shift from appy, so pharmacy student to resident or practicing pharmacist,
Yeah.
I can say the other two don't even compare to
Yeah.
the amount of work that you have to do and the amount of time that gets put in,
Hmm.
because everyone here, all the preceptors, all the pharmacists here are expecting you to, fill your own shoes and,
Hmm.
put your license to practice, and
Absolutely.
be incredibly independent.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot more of managerial responsibilities that you have to handle on top of your
Mhm.
clinical responsibilities, on top
Mhm.
of maybe potentially precepting responsibilities, research responsibilities. It
Yeah.
all piles up. Once you complete one, another thing just gets added to your plate. And
Mhm.
what I've learned to do, knowing my time management is not the best, but what I've
Yeah.
learned to do, is to put your hand in a little bit of everything that you're working on. That way,
Mhm.
you're still tackling all your longitudinal stuff, and
Yeah.
everything you need to get done at the end of the day,
Mhm.
without really burning yourself out or stressing out about deadlines and everything else.
Absolutely. And that's why you're like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I was like, I think I know what he's going to say, but I'm gonna let him finish because nothing quite truly prepares you well enough for it. You get there and you're like, wait, but last week I was going out to dinner. I had time. How did we go from 0 to 200 in like 1 week? It happens super quickly. And then if you haven't been preparing yourself for it, for that eventuality that things are going to take off, it could be incredibly difficult for you to catch up and then stay on top of it. But that's excellent advice. Just not losing sight of the fact that there are a bunch of things going on at once and they all require your attention and working on them little by little so that nothing falls behind. That's an excellent strategy. But it sounds like a broken record because of how true it is. All of us, I think all of us experienced it and all of us went through it. Okay, so time management has been the most challenging. Let's talk a little bit about your program. What really attracted you to this program, besides the fact that it was down the street from home, Paul?
So honestly, I this program, even though I am from New Jersey, and a lot of the programs I did look at were from New Jersey, this program specifically is part of one of the institutions, part of the largest health system in New Jersey.
Gosh.
Rutgers, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health is the largest in New Jersey. So we're one of wow, how do I not remember the exact number? But we're like one of six hospitals,
Okay.
PGY1 hospitals.
Wow.
And this hospital specifically in the health system is the largest. It was 600 beds. It's a teaching community hospital with the
Wow.
most elective opportunities, minus oncology, because they're actually building a brand new oncology center, which should be coming up sometime next year. Um,
Awesome.
but just the amount of opportunity and I guess really my close connections with the hospital as well, and the people here have
Yeah.
really attracted me toward it. And even during my interview, I could feel the genuine,
Mhm,
just the genuine vibes I got when interviewing with the preceptors here,
mhm.
and it really, really drew me in because it still had my clinical areas of interest as
Yeah.
electives. But everyone I met here has been nothing but welcoming and supportive.
Super important because and I think that that is a combination that's incredibly difficult to find because every one of us kind of go in knowing that, yes, this is going to be a challenging year, but to find a program that's balancing your workload with that right amount of support, I think you've lucked out incredibly to find a program that's really giving you both of those two things at the same time. Tell us about your co-residents. Do you have any? How many?
I do, I do. So we have four PGY1 positions,
Awesome.
and we also share the office with a PGY2, the geriatrics resident.
Oh, gotcha.
So you can say it's a pretty packed house. I'm the only male here, so it's always nice
Oh,
it's always
Paul.
getting getting advice from the women.
Yeah.
But they're amazing. They all came from different parts. New York, one came from Minnesota. The
Wow.
PGY2 came from Rhode Island, originally from Texas. So
Wow.
we're a very diverse program. We're not just Rutgers or just East Coast type
Yeah.
of residents. We all come from different backgrounds, all for different reasons. And
Mhm.
similar to my reason, well, my reasoning is they you know have those electives that they offered,
Yeah.
and really during the interview process is kind of what struck us and what made us choose this program over, some of the others that we were interviewing for.
Yeah, very good. And, if you're listening to this and you're applying to residency, like, Paul touched on something really, really important, and I just wanna pause there for a second. When you are speaking to residents that are in a residency program, it can tell you a lot about the program and how they select candidates. And it sounds like that the fact that his co-residents are literally from all over the country, it says a lot. They are looking for quality residents that they feel like will be a fit for their program rather than recruiting a bunch of people from their affiliate college or school of pharmacy. These are really good telltale sign when you're looking to apply to residency programs because it tells you like, okay, they're going to really look at all of what I've done and what I'm interested in and how well they'll be able to invest in me to help me meet my professional goals. And I like you said that and you're like, we're all from different places. I'm like that for people that are looking for residencies this fall, I want you to pay attention to that because that's like some of those really amazing qualities in a residency program. And so, Paul, like, what are some rotations that you've had so far?
So first one was the geriatrics. Next
Ah,
one, like any residency program, there's going to be a staffing component. So before we
yeah.
even start staffing, actually my first weekend staffing starts tomorrow.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, so it's every other weekend staffing. But my
Gotcha.
second rotation was dispensing, which is basically, learn the system, how to
Mhm.
verify, learn our processes, our floors.
Yeah.
Um, and then right now it's actually just wrapped up my first week of CCU, which is cardiology, and I love it. So
Oh, you did. So that didn't disappoint. That love is still there.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome. Do you have your elective schedule yet?
It's tentative right now, but
Okay.
um, I on it is definitely I have renal transplant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great thing about our hospital, we're the top five in living donor renal transplant programs in the country. I think we're number four, which is
Oh,
incredible. Also, another thing that drew me to the program, I'm actually doing my research project related to transplant, so it's an awesome elective.
wow. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Uh,
Well, that's really, really cool. We need more incredible pharmacists in transplant. I am a kidney transplant recipient. So I
oh,
need,
okay.
yeah, so
Love
I
it.
need highly qualified and motivated people to go into solid organ transplant. I use my transplant pharmacist, and he's probably annoyed by me often, but he loves me. He just says, he doesn't want to admit it. That's
Hmm.
amazing. So it just sounds like your program is a quintessential academic medical center, variety of rotations, plethora of elective rotation opportunities, and a good opportunity for some lifelong friendships with four co-residents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
We
awesome.
we go out every now and then, so
You go every now and then. Oh, I'm gonna check on you in February and see, are you
oh.
guys still going out every now and then? What's some advice that you have from someone literally fresh off this application trail? What are some things? Well, let me break it up for you.
Mhm.
What is one thing you believe you would do slightly differently if you re-entered this process again as a candidate that's going to go through the match?
I probably say making sure you get your CV checked by as many people as you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
I don't want to say my mistake was because it wasn't really a mistake. I only got it
Mm.
checked by maybe 4 people, but
Yeah.
to my defense, I was very, very comfortable with my mentors, and because they were so successful in their areas,
Yeah.
I felt that their advice was good enough. But
Yeah.
if you're unsure about, that whole process about your CV,
Mhm.
um, if you ask 10 different people, you're likely to get 11 different answers,
Yes.
which goes to show that there can always be some edits, there can always be some improvement in your CV. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's what you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
and if the people you've asked gave you quality, advice, tips,
Yeah.
um, go with what you think is best at the end of the day.
100. Oh my gosh. I couldn't agree more. I encourage people, I'm like, literally, you need to be a person who asks everybody during this
Mhm.
process to look. Like people looking at your CV and giving you feedback on your CV and you saying, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one piece, but this other piece is completely changed the look of my CV and I love it. It's not a waste of their time. People love to invest during this season because they know the stakes are high.
Right.
Such amazing advice. So that's the one thing that would change. What is something about this journey you believe greatly contributed to your success? Like when you reflect on it, you're like, yeah, I really nailed this one component of my application process. And I feel like it greatly contributed to my success.
Definitely my letter of intent.
Yeah.
Working on all your residency stuff, even if you're still considering it, just start working on your applications, especially your letter of intent, like
Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
That's what I tell some of the Rutgers students that actually, rotate through our hospital when they ask me for advice. Have a solid backbone, have a solid
Yes.
draft, similar to
Yeah.
your CV. Keep getting it checked out,
Mhm.
because, little tip, if you don't, you're most likely going to use that same solid backbone, that draft of your letter of intent for every place you apply to, just a little bit of a tweak and a little bit
Yeah.
specific for the program.
Ah,
But definitely having that early set me
yeah.
up for success.
100. Oh my gosh. I couldn't, guys, I know you guys hear me rant and rave about this. I just love that you're hearing it from people who are actually leveraging some of these tips and tricks and becoming successful and getting what they want. The letter of intent process, I tell you guys, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I wouldn't recommend anyone to just slap a letter together in 1 week and say it's good to go because, like your CV, you want many, 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 many eyes on it as well. And the only way you can accomplish that is if you get it done early. Excellent, excellent advice. What is your wisdom from all of this, from this journey? Like, from your personal experience, you worked in a pharmacy, you went through a school of pharmacy that had excellent support system to guide you, and still you feel like there was one thing that you could have done differently. So if we were to label it your wisdom from your journey, what do you think that would be? And I want you to target this advice really for the prospective candidate that is about to start this journey like right now.
Mhm. I guess my one thing that I could say is you are good enough, no matter what anyone says. You're
Yeah.
more than just a CV, you're more than just a grade. You know yourself better. And honestly, I was doubting myself that I would even get a residency.
Yeah.
I didn't start off super strong in pharmacy school, and
Yeah.
I was in a really down place, which does happen to everyone,
A lot of us.
whether they deny it or not. It
Yeah.
does happen. And what really got me through is knowing where I wanted to be and working hard for it, and just keep pushing through.
Yeah.
But oh, it's always important just to remind yourself that you are enough and you are good enough to get into a residency or a program that you want. So just keep working hard for it. It's not going to be easy. Definitely
Yeah.
won't be easy. It's going to
Mhm.
be a long process, but
Yeah.
just remind yourself, and you'll persevere. You'll get through it.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I really love that because it's like that little component I think that gets forgotten. The mental toll that the process takes on you. You really can become super, super, super critical of yourself. This is when you want to lean on the people around you and but also really like that self-reflection that you're talking about and making sure that you're having kind conversations with yourself because it's such a long process
Mhm.
before you can finally come up for air. And then guess what? It's time to start preparing for boards now. So you're in this tunnel and it can get really, really hard. I am so grateful for this opportunity. And I told you, I want to be respectful of your time. It's been such an
Mhm.
unbelievable and amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. For the people who are interested in connecting with you, learning more about what sounds like an amazing academic medical center with a lot of opportunity for people who are very hungry and want to go for it all, how can they, one, connect with you and learn more about your program?
Well, like everyone, I'm on Instagram as well.
Yay.
Is there, can I type my email somewhere? Do I type it in the comment box?
You
I
can
could
type
type
your
that out.
email. Yep,
Mhm.
you can put your email right in the chat where they'll be able to reach out to you. Um, and I want to encourage you to reach out. Please reach out. Please don't be scared. You've seen him here. He's like so easygoing. Um, don't
I
hesitate to reach out. They're looking forward to engaging with you as well. So don't be so scared of rejection that you're just like not going to reach out and make a connection and have someone share really insightful information that could help you.
Yeah. I don't know if I put it in the private chat or if I put in the live comments, but
Okay.
um, I mean, if I could also share it share it with you, or if you can share it
Yeah, if
after.
you share it with
Mhm.
me, I'll make sure that when I reshare the live, I'll put it
Mhm.
in the comment so everybody has it that's interested in reaching out knows how to.
Yeah,
I know they
but definitely,
appreciate that.
no, of course, definitely don't be afraid to email me, or if you find me on Instagram, it's my first name dot my last name right there.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but if don't be afraid to reach out. I know it might be an intimidating thing, especially reaching out to residents and RPDs in any program. But from my personal experience, I actually reached out to my RPD here prior to even application season just to ask about the
Yeah,
program, and she still remembers me from that day. So it won't hurt to
it won't
ask,
hurt.
and it will definitely get you noticed. So
Mhm.
definitely
And
do
I
it.
don't know why people don't believe that. Like these RPDs have like such phenomenal memory. They remember you. And I say this a lot. The benefit of emailing an RPD before a showcase or having that email exchange is when you finally meet them in person, it's like it's so
Mhm.
nice to meet you finally. It's not this awkward first time encounter for you or the RPD. You've been exchanging emails, it's less stressful. So we do have Paul's email, and I will share that out. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Attention,
so much.
adult medical alert, PACU,
Uh,
adult
the
medical
work. We're
alert,
gonna let you
Mhm.
go
PACU,
so you can go
Okay.
adult
continue to
medical
work
alert,
and save
PACU.
lives.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining this live, and thank you so much for being here. The season 2 of the Road to Match Day podcast episodes are going to drop every once a month, and the first one is next Wednesday. We are so excited that you could join us for this live. Please reach out to Dr. Badua when you have questions. And again, we're so grateful for your time. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.